Today, we need to talk about yet another controversial move from the Labour government. Yet another one. That is the decision to scrap short prison sentences. At first glance, it might sound like a harmless reform, a bit of tinkering with the justice system, but in reality, it has far-reaching consequences for law, order and the trust in Britain. The first point is the policy itself. Under Labour's plan, offenders who would normally serve under 12 months in prison will instead face a so-called tougher community sentence. In practice, this means unpaid work, electronic tack, treatment programs, or rather than prison walls, just anything nonsensical. And the justification for this? Labour argues that short-term prison sentences don't work. They claim they only increase reoffending, overcrowd prisons, and fail to rehabilitate offenders. On paper, it's framed as a reform for efficiency and effectiveness. The next point is the message it sends. But here lies the real issue. What message does it send? To the average citizen, it signals that crime no longer carries serious consequences. To offenders, it says you can shoplift, assault, and repeatedly reoffend. And instead of losing your freedom, you'll just do community service, wear an ankle bracelet, you know the way. Criminals thrive on weakness. When the state signals leniency, the inevitable result is an emboldened criminal class. And for ordinary people, shopkeepers, commuters, families, it means living in a society where low-level but constant crime becomes normalised. Then we need to ask the question, is this selective justice? This is another pressing question, is to whether the policy will apply equally. Will it apply to everyone, citizens and migrants alike? Or will we see a two-tiered system where British citizens face the full force of censorship, law, prison and surveillance, while certain non-British offenders slip through the cracks of an already overwhelmed system? This is where the public trust really collapses. When people feel that the rules are applied differently depending on who you are, for a wider context, crime, immigration and control. And remember, this is not happening in a vacuum. We are already seeing rise in shoplifting, violent assaults, and the strain of illegal immigration on communities. Police are overstretched, prisons are overcrowded, probation officers are at the breaking point. Instead of strengthening law and order, Labour's approach risks enabling lawlessness. This is at a point when the people want safety and fairness. The government appears to be sending the opposite signal. Leniency for criminals and tightening control of ordinary citizens in other areas like from online speech to financial systems. But out of all of this, there's a bigger picture. Step back and ask yourself, where does this trajectory lead? A Britain where crime feels routine? A Britain where victims see no justice? A Britain where citizens begin to lose faith, not only in the justice system, but in the state itself. The loss of trust is the most dangerous outcome for all, because once the public no longer believe the government will protect them, the social contract itself begins to break down. Labour tells us this is about reducing reoffending and creating efficiency, but in practice, in risks, creating a society where criminals feel emboldened and ordinary citizens feel abandoned. The real question is simple. Are these reforms truly about justice? Are they about managing the decline? By tolerating more crime, lowering expectations, shifting the burden onto the public? Because in the end, crime policy isn't just about criminals. It's about the message it sends to all of us, about what kind of nation Britain is becoming. Now, we've seen this last year with the Facebook posters getting ridiculous lengths of time in jail for sometimes inflammatory and sometimes innocuous posts. It was as simple as that. Now, at the same time, they were letting sex offenders go. No jail time for sex offenders. Now, I asked a question in my previous video about Labour's alignment with sex offenders. And I asked the question, is this something they do? Is this something they are? Especially when you look at Keir Starmer's relationship and history with Jimmy Savile. That's not an accusation, it's public knowledge. There was a relationship there of some sort from childhood. He even defended him. He was the one who didn't prosecute Jimmy Savile when he should have done. Now, up and around the screen, I'm going to put up Labour councillors that have been done for sexual assault on children, or just sexual assault in general. Look at the amount. Now, add to that, Labour, we have a very Muslim-orientated Labour who are letting crimes go totally unpunished. We in the UK are fighting against illegal immigration, and the dangers are obvious. They're all over the place. I'll put some of these posts up for child sex offences from these people. These are posts for sex offences. And we have seen them on the rise. We had this idiot, Musaf, whatever, the ex-Scottish MP, come out and said there was no proof of grooming gangs and it's made up by the right. Come on, is this guy for real? There is evidence there. We patriots are fighting for our country and we are getting called far right. Yet all we are doing is trying to protect our nation, our children, our economy, our people. That's all we're doing. Show me proof of the far right doing something wrong. Yet I can show you loads of proof about the left and the illegal immigration that is causing this country real problems. They have dreamt up the far right narrative as a bogeyman. That's what they've done. When you see these lefties or whatever, just ask them, is the far right in the room with us right now? Do you need help? On that, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you very much for enduring another one of my rants. I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.